this isn't just another Friday at WXVU as we start the month of March and count down the hours until spring break 2024. So we have a lot coming up with discussions about plans for spring break, and we're also curious about what you'll be up to. So if you haven't yet, make sure to go answer the Twitter poll on WXVU's Twitter and Instagram account. Apparently, TikTok is also going down the route of Facebook. We shall discuss. The chair of the Humanities Department, Dr. Michael Tomko, will be joining us today to delve into the big and small questions of humanity and life. In sports, it's March, which means madness is just around the corner for hoops, and we'll talk about where the men's and women's teams stand coming up. The Morning Roar is also being broadcast live on WXVU's YouTube channel. Good morning, everybody. My name is Chris Kokinos.
I'm Mike Obershaven.
And now let's get into our first news update of the day. A Philadelphia man who was convicted and sentenced to death in connection with the 1994 arson murder of a woman is now exonerated 30 years later, the district attorney's office announced. On Wednesday, Daniel Gwynn, 54, was exonerated and released from state prison in Pennsylvania after the DA's office said they found flaws in the 1994 first-degree murder investigation. Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner said in a press release that the exoneration of Daniel Gwynn today frees a man who is likely innocent. Sadly, it also exemplifies an era of inexact and at times corrupt policing and prosecution that has broken trust with our communities to this day, end quote. And in other news, for more than a quarter century, Phillies fans considered Dollar Hot Dog Night among the best ballpark promotions, but the team has now decided it was the worst. The Phillies officially ended the popular promotion Thursday and replaced Dollar Dogs on select dates with a 2-for-1 deal at April games at Citizens Bank Park. What wasn't positive about Dollar Dog Nights? Well, armed with projectile frankfurters, some unruly Phillies fans began chucking their favorite Hatfield meat during a game last year, and the dogs soared like cans of corn throughout the stands and onto the field. The demand for the discount dogs also led to clogged lanes, if not arteries, on the concourse, and the cramped spaces led to security and safety concerns. I was loving all the puns in that one. That was pretty good.
The puns are really good.
They were on top of that one in that article. But our first discussion topic of the day. So spring break is officially a couple hours away. So, Mike, what are your plans for more than a week-long, well-deserved break? As if I don't already know.
Yeah, I don't know. What are your plans, Chris? No, so we are going on a nice little road trip for the first half. DC and Virginia, gonna see some cool stuff. And then I'm just going back home for the other week.
Yeah,
for the other half of the week. Got some work to do.
Yeah, very chill week for you. I mean, I'm also going on this road trip. It's gonna be very exciting. We're gonna go to DC. Gonna go to Shenandoah National Park, right?
Mm-hmm.
Monticello to see Thomas Jefferson's house.
Yeah, potentially UVA if we have time.
Potentially UVA, we'll see. And Williamsburg, and we'll be back on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then for the second half of break, I'm heading up to New York for what is definitely going to be the last mock trial competition of the year. So that should be exciting stuff. But Mike, why don't you take us into our Twitter poll question today?
All right. So we're flipping the question back on you guys. So our Twitter and Instagram poll question for this episode is, what are your spring break plans? The choices are tropical getaway, taking a staycation, working, or other. And just reply with what you're doing.
Yeah. I was a little surprised that since you were the one who made the poll,
road trip
was not on there.
Yeah.
Like I opened that poll. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to vote for. Wasn't on there. No.
That's why you had to do other.
Well, I didn't reply though. That's the thing.
terrible.
Like if you ask me to reply, I'm definitely not going to. Do a lot of people reply on these?
Some people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't ever read them off.
Well, one of the replies is on our Instagram poll is our very own Nick Williams, and he said he's going to the IBS conference.
Oh yeah, which is starting today in New York.
Mm-hmm.
WXVU is up for some awards, and I'm pretty sure they're also taking a tour of the Audacity studios.
Audacity. Oh yeah.
like
really?
the program that we have like on this computer.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I mean that should be fun for them. So I think that's our very own Talene and Nick are
Yep.
heading up to New York today, or they should already be there.
I think they head out at like 7 or 8.
Okay. See, that's why we're running a little bit of a slimmer crew today.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's already left for spring break, heading up to New York for the IBS conference. Very
mean,
poorly named.
When IBS calls, you answer.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
That's how IBS works. Mike, why don't you take us into our birthdays coming up this weekend?
Yep. So today, happy birthday to Kesha, turning 37. TikTok, that clock's turning. Also, turning 30 today is Justin Bieber. Tomorrow, Luke Combs turns 34, and Daniel Craig, or James Bond, turns 56. Turning 47 is Chris Martin. On Sunday, George Miller turns 79, Julia Bowen turns 54, and Camila Cabello turns 27.
This might just be a me thing, but I thought Justin Bieber was going to be much older.
Older?
Because like I just feel like he's been around for so much.
Yeah, but think about like
he was a child when he started.
He was 13 when he had his first love.
Is that like a reference to one of his like
Yes.
songs? Okay.
Baby.
Oh, when did he come out with Baby though? Because like that is genuinely the first song that I know of his.
Like 2009 or 10. So you do.
So what would that make him? Like
he was like 15.
That's wild. Yeah. I feel like he hasn't. I don't follow him that much. I feel like he hasn't come out with that much stuff.
He hasn't.
Okay.
I mean, you Justin Bieber, you made that much money, like you can live off of it.
Yeah.
Plus, he's like Haley Baldwin's husband now, and she's doing all this stuff, like all the makeup and beauty stuff. So, like, I'm sure that gets a check.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I don't think he's worried about money. Wasn't he supposed to perform at the Super Bowl this year? Wasn't that a whole thing?
Was he supposed to perform at the Super Bowl?
I remember hearing everyone like, "Oh, Justin Bieber's going to perform. Like he's there. He flew in. Like all this drama around him performing, and then he didn't perform."
Well, yeah, we know he did not do that.
Well, yeah, we absolutely know that he didn't do that.
But yeah, no, I can't remember the last song I remember "Sorry." That one. But that was like the last one I really remember.
What did that one even sound like?
Like, is it too late now to say sorry?
Oh, yeah. But that was like, wasn't that also a while ago?
That was like 2017, 2018.
Which was like also 6 years
years
ago.
ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, yeah. I'm 30 years old, Justin Bieber, today.
I mean, like, George Miller isn't coming out with new stuff. So, like,
I don't even know who George Miller is.
he was like an old, like 50s, like I think he was like doo-wop or like old country folk or whatever.
Kind of messed up. We didn't do any of the Leap Day birthdays yesterday. Probably the only time
they get celebrated.
Exactly. Yeah. I did see something that like the Today Show or Good Morning America did, where they had like all these elderly people there, and they're like, "How old are you?" And they're like, "I'm 15 years old." I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of funny. That's a good time."
Ja Rule was born on February 28th or 29th, 1976.
I don't know who that is.
Ja Rule is a famous rapper.
Is it the only person?
Well, let's see.
You're struggling to come up with some names
here.
here.
There's a whole article before this list of famous people, which is not Superman.
Oh yeah.
But like the actual Superman.
Oh, not like the actor.
No.
Okay.
Like
the guy, the character.
He was born on Krypton
on
February 29th.
Because time totally works the same there.
Yeah. Tony Robbins, if you know who that is, he's like a self-help guy. Also on Leap Day.
Awesome. Yeah.
So happy birthday, happy belated to Ja Rule, Tony Robbins, and Superman. What a cast.
Yeah, I saw that is it Tony Gunn? What's the guy's name who's doing the new Superman movie?
I have no idea.
He did all the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Oh, James Gunn.
James Gunn, not Tony Gunn. I don't know where I got Tony from. But yeah, James Gunn, he tweeted out yesterday. He's like, "We're starting with the new Superman reboot." So I guess that makes sense that it was like,
oh yeah,
the Superman's birthday. That makes a lot of sense now. Yeah. So here's what's going on with WXVU. We just talked about this a little bit. This year's Intercollegiate Broadcasting System Conference is going on in New York City, where the Morning Roar's own Talene Postian and Nick Williams arrived last night. Oh, see, there we go. If we read, we would have got a little more information.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, I literally saw them last night waiting for. I guess they were waiting for
For the SEPTA?
for the transportation.
Awesome. Saturday, WXVU will learn if we are winners in any of the 5 categories we were nominated for this year, including Best Overall College Radio Station.
We got it on lock.
We got it on lock. I mean, last year we should have had it on lock, but this year we absolutely have it on lock.
Yeah.
I mean, last year we were also nominated for the wrong category. We were in like the large school conference, which like we're totally not.
Yeah.
Because there's like 2 conferences, like the large school, which is I think over 8,000 students.
And the small school, which is under. I mean, we're right at the cusp.
That I think that was the problem, because if you count professional students, we're over. But if you don't, we're under.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so we didn't know what to do. But I also wasn't part of this decision last
So
year.
we
So
decided to play up a weight class.
I think we just messed up and moved ourselves up a weight class without really putting much thought into it. But our show of the week is Stop, Drop, and Bop, hosted by Anna Flynn. It's a little bit of drama, but all. Oh, wait, hold on. It's a little bit of every drama, but all songs that make you want to stop, drop, and bop. Listen to Stop. They're really going to make me say it again. Listen to Stop, Drop, and Bop every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. only here on WXVU.
And what show is this?
Stop, Drop, and Bop. just in case you didn't pick up on it. That's a long show name.
I don't know. If you say it fast.
No, but not when it's Stop, Drop, and Bop. That's just me.
I think you just can't speak.
I think that's the Midwest in me.
Stop, drop, and bop.
No,
Like,
Stop, Drop, and Bop.
Yeah.
No, you got to put all the emphasis on it, especially with
course.
Stop there. Like it makes you stop when you're reading it.
Oh yeah, that's.
Come on,
that's
this
what
is
that
very
does. That's what the
literary.
word stop does.
Come on, with Dr. Tomko coming in later today.
You got to read it as a poem.
We got to really read into everything that we're doing on the show here today.
It's all got meaning.
Of course, yeah. Especially when there's only 2 of us here, we really have to read in and figure out the hidden meaning. We don't have the group thing going on here.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Colleen isn't here to read into all the data.
No, yeah, we're gonna struggle with that. But also later on in the Mindbender, I don't know how this isn't cheating for you.
Yeah, just don't give me a point.
No. We're gonna have to. I mean, if you get it, you're gonna get a point. But I'm not gonna give you any hints. Like if you don't get it, you just don't get the point.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's like the most fair way of doing it.
Yeah.
But make sure you stay tuned for that coming up later on the Morning Roar. We're gonna be taking a quick break, so stay tuned for more after this.
My name is Nick Williams, and I am the Digital Media Director for WXVU, and you're listening to 89.1 The Roar.
Villanova Reach Out is a new campus organization dedicated to relieving social isolation in older adults through telephone conversations. Villanova Reach Out is looking for students, staff, and faculty volunteers who want to make a difference and a new friend.
For information, to volunteer, or to receive calls, contact Reach Out at villanova.edu. REACHOUT at villanova.edu.
The Villanova Tech Zone is a free resource for helping students, faculty, and staff troubleshoot their technological needs. Contact the Tech Zone at 610-519-7777. Chat with them online or visit their law school, Falvey Library, or New Commons offices. For more information, visit unit.villanova.edu.
And we're back with the Morning Roar right here on WXVU 89.1 FM, The Roar. Let's go to Mike with our weather forecast coming up this weekend for the main line.
All right. Today is starting off with sunshine along with a few afternoon clouds. The high today is 48. Tonight, you can expect cloudy conditions that will persist into the late evening, a low of 34. Expect rain all day on Saturday, tomorrow, which will turn into light showers in the night, a high of 50 and a low of 36. And clouds will come back on Sunday after Saturday's rain. Expect cloudy conditions from morning till night. The high for Sunday is around 60 and the low is 43. The current temperature outside of our Doherty Hall studios on the campus of Villanova University is 30 degrees Fahrenheit. And
Yeah,
right
dude.
now it's sunny.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
I was freezing this morning because I just was not expecting it at all.
Yeah, I mean it's been cold for the past week, so I'm a little wary now.
Yeah,
But I mean,
that
it's
groundhog.
liar.
Liar, the worst. Cannot believe we gave him airtime on this show,
He's
and he went and did this to us.
He's living up to that 37%.
He's a system
System
groundhog.
groundhog.
He's a system groundhog. Absolutely. Well, let's get back into our news of the weekend here.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, I know. No way. We caught him? A group of teenagers who call themselves the Kia Boys were taken into custody by Radnor Township Police recently after they were seen breaking into cars and leading authorities on a brief chase, authorities said. Police said five teens, all from Camden County, New Jersey, were charged with receiving stolen property, theft from cars, possession of instruments of crime, and related crimes after an early Saturday morning incident. A sixth was charged with loitering and prowling at night, police said. It all began when a resident saw two males using a screwdriver to get into a car at an apartment complex on the 400 block of East Lancaster Avenue early Sunday morning. All six were released to adults and were charged, police said. Their identities were not provided.
So are these the same Kia Boys?
That's what I'm trying to figure out because I've been in Milwaukee for the last few years, and 2 years ago, the Kia Boys were terrorizing Milwaukee. Like, they were the biggest news story of that summer because if you left your Kia out, it was just gone. Because like those cars are just so outrageously easy to steal. Because apparently all you do is like you pop something off the bottom of like the steering wheel, unplug something, and replug it back in backwards, and the car starts.
And the car starts?
Yeah.
No way.
It's either that or like you plug a little USB in to the steering wheel.
And it's oh my God.
And it also starts with this publicly available code. It's actually crazy. So like this was a huge thing in Milwaukee, and like they were even interviewed like anonymously on YouTube and stuff, and they're like, yeah, like blacked out faces, like the voices were like modulated so you couldn't tell who they were. They're like, yeah, we're just doing it because like it's so easy and like so profitable. And the police, because this was like this summer that Milwaukee also instituted a no pursuit policy where
they can't chase.
You cannot chase people in cars if you're a police officer.
Here's the thing. Philly's got the pursuit policy.
Yeah, Radnor Township apparently did what Milwaukee couldn't and finally caught the Kia Boys.
They brought him to justice.
I cannot believe. I think they've been following me, dude.
Maybe.
Like, how did they get here?
I don't know, but just don't buy a Kia.
I wasn't planning on it. Not, like, genuinely, people would leave out their Kias and they were just like gone the next day.
Wow.
Like, that's how pervasive it was.
So, like someone like coming back from work, they're like, "Oh, I'm tired. I just want to. I don't want to drive my thing up to the parking garage or whatever. I'll park it on the street."
Gone.
And then next morning, you wake up at like 6 a.m, walk out, no more Kia.
It got so bad at one point that I remember pulling into the parking garage of the apartment building I worked in, and there was a police car stationed on every single floor of this like 6-level parking garage.
On the lookout for the Kia Boys.
Yes,
but they can't chase them though.
No. They were hoping to catch him in the act, and then if they ran away, they were like, "Well, nothing I could do about that."
Got me again.
Rats foiled again.
These people I can't chase outran me.
Oh my God. That's actually shocking to me. Well, in other news, a man is facing up to 5 years in prison for stealing a horse. Yes, you're hearing that correctly. A horse. And trying to hide it in his 3rd floor apartment. I'm going to butcher this.
3-floor apartment.
In his, that's
So,
a
like,
huge apartment.
That is
This dude's
like
rich.
A penthouse?
Why did he steal a horse?
Because horse in the penthouse.
No, you're so right.
Obviously.
Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
When police arrived in Wejherowo, Poland, and received a call about a man trying to lead a horse to the upper floors of a residential building, they thought it was a prank. But when they sent out a crew to investigate, they were shocked to find a fully grown horse being led upstairs by a young man who appeared to be arguing with disgruntled neighbors. Police later learned that the unnamed resident had stolen the animal was trying to conceal it and never apparently considered how conspicuous the operation would be.
That is a pretty conspicuous operation.
How do you think that conversation went down with his neighbors? Like, what could possibly the argument be about? Because like the neighbors are in the right. Like, there's no logical conversation for, hey, what are you doing with that horse? Right? Like, what's your response?
I'll be like horse in the penthouse. That's it. Like,
Yeah,
that's
but in
the only
Polish.
response. Yeah. But like if he lived on a first floor, like if he lived on the first floor,
Yeah, he could have got it in.
he could have got it in, and like the neighbors shouldn't really have a problem with it.
But
It's when you got like the horse, like
Horse-
imagine
there's a
you're
horse in
living
the
under
penthouse.
this guy, and you hear this horse
just like
on the floor,
Just
and like
constantly.
you don't know that the horse is.
No,
It's like
just
what
like-
is this guy doing?
just the loudest guy lives above me. It sounds like he's a massive animal up there with how hard
Yeah.
he's stomping on
A
this floor.
massive quadrupedal animal with hooves.
At just all
is my
hours of the
neighbors.
day.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I can't imagine these apartments were enormous unless this dude actually had a penthouse. Because, like, imagine like a little New York studio apartment. Like, that horse just stands in one spot all day.
That's
Like,
that's
there's
a
no
decorative
room.
horse. There's no way it's moving anywhere. In that,
No,
in that
not at
studio
all.
apartment.
But also, when you want to get it out to like ride it through the streets, which like I'm assuming was his plan, because otherwise, why would you have the horse? You're gonna run into this problem again with the neighbors being like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
Like, this is going to be a multiple times a week conversation of why do you have this horse?
yeah, an extremely conspicuous operation that you have to do.
Yeah, like I could imagine a pony, you know, like a little guy.
like a pony or a mini horse.
Oh, what's the difference?
Like a mini horse is small. Like a pony is just like not as big as a horse.
Those are two of the same
No,
things.
Like a miniature horse is about as tall as this table. A pony
Okay.
is still as tall as you.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
just
difference.
tiny?
Yeah,
and then like a horse is
enormous.
enormous.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably a little miniature horse then, like little Sebastian from
Little
Parks and
Seb-
Rec.
Little Sebastian was a
Like
mini
you could
horse.
probably sneak that guy into an apartment.
Yeah.
That's just a big dog.
Yeah.
Like if somebody asks you, like, what are you doing with that horse? No, dude, this is a dog. Get your eyes checked. Right? Like, no, what?
Have you been to the optometrist recently?
Like you obviously have no idea what a dog looks like because this is a dog.
Yeah.
Come on, man. So it's like neighing. And you're like, don't worry about it. My
No,
dog's
oh,
he's
what
a little
kinda-
confused.
What kind of dog is that?
He speaks a different dog language. He speaks Polish.
He speaks doggy Polish. Yeah.
All right. Well, our second discussion topic of the day. It would seem that TikTok is beginning to suffer from Facebook-itis, as in for the olds, or at least
The
wow,
olds.
that's one way to put it. Jeez. So, or at least the app is not as Gen Z focused as it once was. Journalist Ryan Broderick reports that nearly 40% of TikTok users are in their 30s and 40s. In other words, millennials and Gen Xers. For comparison, that age group accounted for just 20% of Instagram's user base a decade ago. Another interesting thing that might spook the teens in your life into deciding that TikTok is no longer cool. Users 35 to 49 years old are more likely to upload videos than the 18 to 34 crowd. So do we think that TikTok is going down the Facebook path?
Well, I wouldn't say it's going down the Facebook path per se, but like for the olds is a wild statement.
Yeah, that is crazy.
But I don't know. It's just like the natural progression of a new thing.
Yeah.
Like the young people are gonna adopt it first because it's like they're somewhat digitally fluent,
Yeah.
and then they show it to their parents and like their bosses and like the older people in their life, and they're like, "Hey, I get a grasp on this now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start using it."
Yeah. Finally, the olds, after being shown by the youngs,
Yeah.
decide like, oh, I can handle this.
Yeah.
And I think it's also part of the problem was like early on in TikTok, it was all about like, oh, the Chinese are stealing our data.
Well, they're still doing that.
Yeah, but
It's
now we just
like-
don't hear about it anymore.
Yeah.
So everybody might be like, oh, that problem's gone away.
But I think the youngs are realizing, oh wait,
The
the
Chinese,
Chinese
are stealing.
our data.
Yeah, but at this
There's
point,
like
if
a
the youngs
flip.
are just realizing this, the Chinese already have their data,
Yeah,
like all of it.
but they don't have TikTok, apparently.
The youngs,
Yeah.
I feel like, well, hold on. 40% is 30s and 40s. I feel like most people in their 50s and above probably don't have it. So that means like the other 50% are like the young still.
I guess, but it used to be like 80%. That's the thing.
Yeah, but like imagine how many people use TikTok. It's a lot. Like I feel like their user base hasn't gone down. It's just increased. So that means like a higher percentage of like older people are using it, but it's still just more people. Besides, of course, our friend James still rocking YouTube Shorts.
YouTube Shorts. He's really on the YouTube Shorts train. We're on the Instagram Reels train. I used to have TikTok.
I mean, Instagram Reels, I think, has gotten pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, they're pretty on top of their game.
Mm-hmm.
Besides, like, the occasional just heinous car accident video that is
no,
all over Instagram for some
good old-fashioned ultra violence.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Instagram is like, no, we will allow this. Like,
It's
not
like,
even a
yeah.
content warning on some of those.
It's like TikTok in the fact that it tailors to your tastes, but it's TikTok if every 6 to 10 videos you saw somebody get violently injured or killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For just whatever reason. I was telling this to James yesterday, and he goes like, oh, that doesn't happen on YouTube Shorts. I just like watch full movies on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah. It's either like full movies or Andrew Tate clips. still. Like YouTube Shorts has not let go of Andrew Tate.
No. Or you just watch the entirety of Suits in 2-minute clips.
Yeah, you're just like like they feed into each other. There's no logical split. It's just they cut off the dialogue and then you'll know, oh, time to scroll to the next one.
Yep. And it's like eventually you will have watched the entirety of Suits just in clips that are completely out of order.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's how Suits got its rebirth, I feel like, is from YouTube Shorts and then eventually got to Instagram Reels. I don't know if it ever got to TikTok though. Like I don't know if TikTokers are seeing like the random movie shorts.
I've seen some on TikTok, but it has to be like a certain niche. Like you can't just go start like liking things that you want to like and then see the movie stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you got to start liking movie stuff.
Okay.
If you want to see these full movies.
Got it. No, that makes sense.
On
That makes sense.
TikTok.
Because TikTok has their algorithm down.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah. Well, Mike, it's time for our mind bender.
All right.
So the standings again, Mike is at 6. Nick W has 3. Becky, bless up, wherever she is, she's got 2. And Talene has 3. So Mike, are you
Wait,
ready?
how many does Nick have? Because he said he was coming for me.
He has 3. So he has half.
Okay, dude.
Like, okay, bud. All right, let me pull it up here. All right, here it is. Forrest left home running. He ran a ways and then turned left. Ran the same distance and turned left again. He then ran the same distance and turned left once again. When he got home, there were 2 masked men. Who were they?
Catcher in the Ump.
Wow, yeah. Woo. We got to have like a celebration noise on here. Well, yeah, you got that right.
Awesome.
See, when I first read this, I was like, what?
That was actually the first riddle I ever solved. It was like you really hit me with the nostalgia here.
Yeah.
It
No,
was
I fully read that this morning. I'm like, wow, that's
like when I was
crazy.
first-
Like,
when
who
I
are
was
these
first
2 masked
capable
men?
of lateral thinking.
Oh, must be nice.
It was like it was like 4th grade, and my teacher was like, "Let's do a riddle," and like nobody could get it because we were all 4th graders.
Yeah.
And then I told like the nearest adult when I found out, and he's like, "Oh, the Catcher in the Ump," and I was like, "How? How did you do that?"
Like, how could you possibly have figured that out? You genius.
Yeah.
You genius of an individual. Awesome. Well, Mike, your lead has increased. Kind of cheating, but whatever.
I feel kind of bad.
No, you shouldn't. You're going to get the pie at the end of the year. It's
Like,
a foregone conclusion.
I just have to win by 2.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
Yeah, absolutely. You're listening to the Morning Roar right here on Villanova's V89.1 The Roar. We're going to be taking a quick break, so stay tuned for more after this.
What's going on, everyone? I'm AJ Malo, the host of Thoughts of Yesterday with AJ, and you are listening to WXVU V89.1 The Roar.
Are you not sleeping well?
Are your energy levels all over the place?
Have you been feeling down?
Adding daily exercise into your routine might be just what you need.
Exercising regularly has been found to enhance sleep, stabilize energy levels, and ease feelings of depression.
A 10-minute walk or a quick workout in your room can still give you the benefits of exercise.
Villanova's Office of Health Promotion and its program, Thrive 365, provide an abundance of helpful information regarding exercise and easy ways to add activity into your busy routine.
In the know with Nova Nurses.
This message is brought to you by senior nursing students in the M. Louise Fitzpatrick College of Nursing,
the Office of Health Promotion,
and WXVU 89.1 The Roar.
DegreeWorks is Villanova's new online degree auditing tool. It is an easy-to-use and comprehensive graduation prep tool that will help students and advisors track academic progress toward completion of degree requirements. DegreeWorks can allow you to see real-time updates to the entire course catalog during registration, see easy-to-view graphics with credits earned and credits remaining, and see suggestions for majors or minors based on completed coursework. DegreeWorks can be accessed through MyNova. Search for DegreeWorks and log in with your Villanova username and password. To learn more, visit villanova.edu/DegreeWorks.
And we're back with the Morning Roar right here on Villanova's V89.1, The Roar. And drawing from Villanova's Catholic and Augustinian legacy that seeks answers that accord with faith and reason, we are joined today by the chair of the department that contemplates the great questions, Dr. Michael Tomko of the Humanities Department. Dr. Tomko, thank you for spending some time with us today. We really appreciate it.
Chris, it's a joy to be here. It's good to be here with you and Mike. I've had you guys in class a couple times, and I got to say, I've looked out into the classroom and I've seen your faces, and I thought, these guys have great faces for radio. I'm glad to see that vocation and fulfillment.
Of course. And of course, as we know from our class, Mike has a great voice for radio.
Yes. So I'm told.
Yeah, no, we've made Mike our designated reader. So whenever we need to read a passage in class, he steps up and his dulcet tones add to the day. Contemplation, the great questions.
So Dr. Tomko, our first question logically should be, why are we here? But I want to ask, why are you here? Or a better question, how did you get here to Villanova? Give us the Dr. Tomko story.
Yeah, the intellectual autobiography, as it were. Well, it's actually, so I did my PhD at Notre Dame, and I finished up in 2005. And then basically, this was an unusual way to get an academic job. And it's either Providence or stalking. But I was contacted by Dr. Tom Smith, who for years was the honors director here and is now dean at Catholic University of America. But Villanova wanted to start a new department, wanted to start it from scratch. And the idea was we need to kind of find a place where the resources for the Augustinian intellectual tradition could be founded, right, and preserved, and a place where that special attention was paid to that. And also just find a way to kind of rethink the liberal arts for the 21st century. So the world's changing quickly. What kind of curriculum, what kind of ways of learning would students need for the 21st century? And this was what Dr. Smith's task was. And he got in contact with me. But it's strange, the reason he got in contact with me, and this will, if people are thinking back about like little things in life that make a big difference, I used to give a ride to our high school to a guy in my neighborhood, George Phillips. And George went to Villanova, and his mentor was Dr. Smith. And after George graduated, he was talking to Dr. Smith, and Dr. Smith was telling him about this project. And he says, well, I have this friend out at Notre Dame now. doing a graduate degree, and he kind of told him about my profile. And so Dr. Smith, on the advice of George, got in touch with me and said, apply for this job, please. And I applied for that job, and it worked out. And here I am. So I've been here since 2005, fall of 2005.
But we all hope to have as good of friends as George.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. Give him a ride in your Bronco. And you don't know what fruits will come of those Bronco rides in the morning in upstate New York. So
there you go. Yeah.
All right. So you kind of got into this, but what sets the humanities department apart from other departments or majors at Villanova?
Yeah, so it's not just departments and majors at Villanova. It's really unique, right? There are some programs like it, and there have been programs like it in the country previously, and around the world. So there's a program that C.S. Lewis actually studied in at Oxford called Literae Humaniores, which doesn't translate easily from the Latin. It means literature of more humanness, right? So in some ways it's a classics degree. So you read the classics, but you read them with more humanness in mind, right? So how to make yourself more human by the exertion of your mind, your whole spirit into these studies. There's a kind of parallel tradition that started in the States. And often these are what we would call great books programs. So the idea is you get a seminar, you get a professor, you get a bunch of engaged students, and you put a kind of classic bookshelf in front of people and say, go, right? And see what happens. So instead of like me as a professor saying, this is what you need to think, right? Let's read these books. Let's put these ideas out on the table. Let's see what we come up with. So in some ways, we were modeled after those two approaches. But again, in thinking about like for the 21st century student, what you would need, and specifically like what the Augustinian tradition brings to the table, what's unique to Villanova, and what kind of particular legacy Augustine has, we said, well, we need to be able to see ourselves in those books, right? We need to be able to find our own experiences in those books. And when we turn to ancient wisdom, we need to find like the pathway into it. So we just can't read old stuff, right? And we're not just reading to read, to clock through the years or to tick off names on a kind of a list, right? So we kind of took a cue from Augustine and said, what does Augustine do better than anybody? He asked questions. He asked questions about his own life, right? And then he asked questions about the questions he's asking about, right? So, I mean, the thing is, if you sit down with Confessions, I mean, he'll say like, well, why are you hanging out with your friends, right? What is it you love when you love your friends? And then what is it you love when you do this with your friends? And what is it you're after, right? So at the end of the day, he's constantly kind of driving for the love behind the love, for the love behind the action, for the real reason that you're animated or doing what you're doing. So that's our inspiration, to kind of base our curriculum on some of those great things from these other programs that have formed great people and have kind of really transformed educational practices, but then to take it another step, to make it even a little bit more Villanova by having that spirit of Augustine driving through it. So these questions that you ask about your own life, and the questions that just don't stop at the first questions, but keep on going and keep on pursuing and keep on, that restless drive. So giving a place for students with that restless intellect, that restless desire to know, place to let them run, find each other, right? And really find a community that's invested in that type of approach.
So, Dr. Tomko, I'm sure you're very busy as the chair of the humanities department, but
yes.
what are some of your favorite classes to teach here at Villanova?
Oh gosh. Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I like being chair, and I get to squeeze people through graduation like yourselves, and get you over the finish line. But so I teach less now that I'm chair, but teaching is like, it doesn't feel like a job, right? It doesn't feel like a job. So when I'm teaching as much as I like to be, my kind of standbys are Inklings, so C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien, my course on otherworldly literature, which is always awesome. And I've been teaching that since graduate school. I've taught that like every year since I was a graduate student, which has been fun. I had a year off this past year and I missed it. We have a new professor, Jadiel Perez, and he kind of took over the Inklings business for me for a little while I'm chair, and it's in good hands. But that's a wonderful course, and I love to teach that. Right now, I'm teaching the Human Person Gateway, which is one of the 4 required Great Question courses for humanities. So, what are the great questions you need to ask about life? Who am I as a person? Right? What's my relationship to my community? Where is my community located? It's located in the natural world. So how do I care for the natural world, right? How do I know it? And then where did all this come from? You know, the big question about divine origins and God, right? So it's my privilege to teach the Human Person course, and I've taught that for quite a while. I've had to wrestle it back from Dr. Paul Camacho, Dr. Helena Tomko, and we all really just want to have that seminar for ourselves because it's basically on the meaning of life. Right. So it's you think about a human life, you think about all that goes into it, and then you work through it with a bunch of dedicated students who are trying to figure it out too. And you're sharing your wisdom, and then you're learning wisdom. So that's an incredible course to teach. I'm teaching that course right now. I get to teach the seniors as they're working on their senior essays and figuring out what it has all meant and what they're going to do with their lives. So that's a pretty special experience in humanities. And we took the standard kind of capstone model, and this is basically what we do with everything. We say, how can we make this good, right? How can we do what everyone does, but let's figure out, you know, we're going to reinvent it. What's the way to kind of do it so that it serves the good, right? So, you know, a key feature of that is you get to write your dream paper, right? So the paper that's been on your mind, but you never quite got to get to, you get to set your own question and you run with it, right? And you figure out what it is you need to figure out before you graduate. And then a kind of series of communal symposium where we eat together. We talk together, we eat together. We don't drink together because I don't want to get fired, but we kind of do the senior symposium in a way that makes sense and kind of recognizes everyone's humanity and everyone's investment in this, and both celebrates it and culminates it. So those are the courses I've been teaching recently. The courses I've had trouble getting to because I've been chair and haven't been teaching as much. Teach a course on epiphanies of beauty. So those kind of aha moments in life where something happens to you and you just kind of are stopped short, and then you've got to make sense of it. And sometimes you screw up what you think about it and you don't really know what to do with it. And then sometimes it leads you down a good path and a new path, and a path you couldn't have imagined for yourself. So I do an Epiphanies of Beauty course for humanities, and then a beauty course for honors, which pursues those questions. And then I'm hoping soon to get to a course I've taught a couple of times, which is almost like the Human Purse Junior. So it's thinking about the meaning of life, but thinking about it in terms of the good childhood. Instead of the good life, what would a good childhood mean, right? And the degree to which we need a good childhood as the foundational building block of a good life, right? And so looking to literature, philosophy, theology, psychology, educational theory as a way of doing that. Because it strikes me, and this is, you know, based on my own experience as a parent, and then what I've heard from students, is that often people feel, one, their education even beginning in elementary school, sometimes even before that, has already been professionalized, right? And that you have been made into a professional student whose purpose is to beat all the rest of your fellow students, your fellow friends, to the next stage, right? And so you're consciously competing and constantly competing, right? And always thinking about the next thing. And so instead of undergoing kind of formative experiences that are going to serve you well in the long run, right? You're always working on what the next step is, right? And so I think that begins, I mean, we feel it intensely here, right? And not just here at Villanova, but here in your college years, that kind of anxiety and deference to pursuing the good, not now, but at the next phase of my life, right? But I think that begins early when you're listening to Baby Einstein tracks, right? and talking about being an entrepreneurial kindergartner. So that's a course that, again, I love, and trying to think about what is it that people have experienced in their own lives that allows them to have this good childhood, right? And then to rethink, like, not only what a good childhood would be like, but what a good life would be like, and how we might be able to recover that if we're going to be educators, or if we're going to be parents, or even if we just want to be kind of lifelong kids. So that's an awesome course, Vocation of the Child. So hopefully I'll be able to get that into the Rota again soon.
Yeah.
So.
And you have a talk coming up this March 12th. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's titled "Why Are We Here?"
Yeah.
Liberal Arts Learning for Life.
Yeah.
So I guess the big question, if you can give us a sneak peek, is why are we here?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So yeah, you've identified what my spring break is going to look like, right? There's kind of three things like in life that you got to do. If you have a talk, you got to write it. You got to pay taxes, and you got to die. So I hope to do two of those over break, and hopefully it's write the talk and pay my taxes, right? But you never know. But why are we here? This is a question that's been on my mind, actually, and this talk is an extension of what we've been up to in humanities this year. We celebrated our 20th anniversary, right? And we started at Villanova in 2003 with Dr. Smith and a few of his brave partners, and I came on in 2005. So we had a big party in 2023, fall 2023, to mark that occasion. We invited alumni back. We had over 100 alumni come. And what did they want to do? They wanted to sit in seminars together. So we ran a couple seminars, a series of 3 seminars for everybody. We had 5 concurrent seminars going on. We took over Falvey, we took over SAC for a weekend. And to be honest, this talk, part of it I was going to give at the end of the weekend. And my tech blew. Like, I had a PowerPoint presentation all geared up, and so I had to make one up on the fly. So some of that material, some of those things I was thinking about were a talk that not even Dr. Camacho, who's a tech whiz, could fix. So it's a little bit delayed, and a continuation of that and an expansion of that. So the why are we here is a kind of why is humanities here? And then why is it that you would get 100 alumni taking time out from their busy lives, right? Humanities majors have jobs. Right? It's true. They have great jobs. They're successful people. They have great families. A lot of them have kids, a lot of babies kicking around, right? So they're in the heat of adulthood, and yet they want to take a time out and they want to go back, right? And they want to go back and they want to kind of think about the things that they were thinking about in their humanities seminars when they were undergraduates. So part of that question, it means a couple of things. That's why are we here? It means, why is humanities here? What is it that we can lend to this campus? What service can we do? Why are you here, those alumni? Like, why are you coming back? Like, why would you do that? What is it that you need from your undergraduate education in your lives as you're living them? What is it you need to go back to and keep in touch with and keep learning, right? So why are you here. But ultimately, it's like, why are we here? Like, why are we here on this earth? Like, what are we doing? Like, what is the purpose of being here? What's the meaning of our lives? So I'm not going to give away the answer to that question, and maybe like my taxes, I don't know the outcome quite yet. But I'm going to be talking about this experience that has been humanities over the past 20 years. Two, I got a passage from C.S. Lewis and Voyage of the Dawn Treader that I'm going to be honing in on and trying to make sense of in comparison to what we do in the classroom. So if you know Voyage of the Dawn Treader, maybe look back to the passage where Lucy is meeting the magician and reading through the magician's book. So that's one thing. And then another thing to kind of get at this why are we here question, a painting by Andrew Wyeth, who's a local artist. He's one of the great American painters, but is from out by Longwood Gardens, so not very far from here in the Brandywine Valley. And if you see a poster for this talk, the painting I'm going to be talking about called Snow Hill is kind of keyed in, is the painting I'm going to be looking at. It made a big impression on me when I first saw it, and I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about this passage from Dawn Treader and C.S. Lewis, and then I've been thinking about my humanities people and our kind of endeavor and adventure here. So all those things are going into this question. Why are we here? Why are we here studying together? Why are we here reading together? Why are we here debating together? And what does that mean for living? Like, what difference does that mean for how we live and how we live together? So that's the sneak peek. Maybe I should have been writing that down so I myself knew and was ready to kind of present on it. But next Tuesday after break, Tuesday evening. And the nice thing about this is when we have lectures, when we have events in humanities, again, we always ask, how can we make this good, right? This is the way we always do it. Let's look at it again, right? And how can we make this a good thing? It's for undergraduates, right? Often when you have professors giving talks, it's to the other 2 or 3 professors in the room, and everyone else is just kind of looking around, surfing, right? This is for undergraduates, and hopefully it's helping you think about things that you're thinking about. We do one during a semester, so we don't kind of overcrowd you. So we make it one event, make it significant, making meaningful, and then dessert afterwards. So there's a lot of good cookies, that kind of thing afterwards. So, and then the seniors celebrate as they decide to celebrate together as a kind of tradition as well. I won't say anything more about that. So,
well, Dr. Tomko, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, great. And it's finally good to see you guys where you belong, as I said, on the radio.
On the radio.
Of course, of course. That was Dr. Tomko, the chair of the Humanities Department here at Villanova. We're going to be taking a quick break, so stay tuned for more after this.
Hey, I'm Avery Stout. I'm the Philadelphia Music Coordinator for WXVU, and you're listening to 89.1 The Roar.
Yo, it's finally the weekend. What's the plan for tonight?
Oh, no, guys. I'm like 10 shots deep.
Bruh, don't worry. We got you. Where do you guys want to go? Beyond the social scenes, excessive drinking can impact your health and college journey. So we ask you all to remember your basics. College is more than late nights. It's about navigating responsibility. Basics is a Villanova resource that provides tools and support for making informed choices about alcohol. It is crucial to recognize the signs of alcohol misuse. If you or someone you know is struggling with alcohol misuse, now is the time to seek help. Villanova campus resources are here and support is available. Let's raise awareness, break the stigma, and create a college culture focused on well-being. Visit the Villanova Health Services website under the Resources for Health and Well-Being for guidance.
This message is brought to you by senior nursing students in the Fitzpatrick College of Nursing, the Office of Health Promotion, and WXVU Health.
The Smooth Jazz Top 20 Countdown with Alan Kepler highlights the hottest new smooth jazz. Log on to smoothjazznetwork.com to vote on this week's feedback track. And listen to the Top 20 Countdown, heard every Saturday at 8 a.m. on V89.1 The Roar.
And we're back with the Morning Roar right here on Villanova's V89.1 The Roar. Oh, double intro bed. Love to see it. Well, first up in our sports segment, Villanova Sports. What I know is we're heading into March. It's March Madness. It's kind of all I know.
That's also what I know.
Usually we have David here who knows things. I hope we're making the tournament. I think it's really going to come down to the Big East tournament.
Yeah, we could surf David's Twitter for a second. We won against Georgetown, 75-47.
Yeah, that was a big senior night win.
That was a big win.
I mean, it was a big win in the terms of like the number. And Georgetown is just not that good.
Yeah, Georgetown's not good.
I think they have one win on the season.
Really?
Yeah.
Villanova. Is Villanova playing Providence this Saturday?
I don't know, maybe.
Or tomorrow?
That's a good question.
Well, just so you know, David's preview article, Saturday morning, prior to 12 p.m. tip-off, he says.
David, just shout out into the void if we're missing something, you know?
We'll get the brainwaves.
We'll get it, yeah. But yeah, that's all I know about Villanova sports.
Me too.
Awesome. Well, let's go into our music news here, Mike.
All right. So, Billie Eilish and Phineas will perform at the Oscars for the third year in a row. They will deliver What Was I Made For from Barbie, which was widely expected to win Best Original Song. In fact, all 5 of this year's nominees in that category will perform. Oh, wow.
Is I'm Just Ken going to be making an appearance? I heard it was.
Is it?
That's what I heard.
Because, I don't know. Well, is the Oscar... Isn't Ryan Gosling like the only one nominated for, or was that the Golden Globe?
No, it's the Oscars.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's the whole thing.
Okay. Joe Keery, the Stranger Things heartthrob, is now a Billboard Hot 100 artist.
Oh.
Keery, who plays Steve Harrington in the Netflix show, has debuted at 51 under his musical pseudonym.
You could just take your best guess. Yeah. DJO, maybe.
DJO. It's spelled DJO. Could be pronounced Dio or Dio or something like that. DJO.
Yeah, sure.
The synth pop breakout viral hit titled End of Beginning was streamed 8.4 million times last week.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, but
it sounds
we're listening
awful.
Adele has postponed all of the March dates on her Caesars Palace residency due to illness. She wrote on IG, "I was sick at the end of the last leg and all the way through my break. I hadn't quite gotten the chance to get back to full health before shows resumed, and now I'm sick again." Weekends with Adele is currently set to resume on May 18th. That's more than a month. That's...
She's taking 2 months off.
2 months off because she's sick.
I wish we could do that.
Yeah. Right?
That'd be awesome. It's like, I've got a cold.
When you're Adele.
Yeah, well, of course. If you have a Las Vegas residency at Caesars Palace, go crazy.
Yeah, do what you want.
Yeah. Well, let's go into our movies coming up here this weekend. Dune Part 2 has released. PG-13 sci-fi adventure. Paul Atreides unites, I definitely butchered that, unites with Chani and the Freeman while on a path of revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the universe, he tries to prevent a terrible future only he can foresee. This has Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, and Austin Butler with a tomato meter of 96%.
Dude, Elvis is in this movie.
Who?
Elvis?
I guess so, dude. Yeah.
Wow. Do you think he got rid of his thing? Because I think it'd be really funny if it
If
was
he was
like
just
a sci-fi
Elvis
film.
with Elvis just
talking
roaming
like
around.
Elvis.
He's got the full outfit too, like bedazzled on this desert planet, running away from the giant worms. But in other news, Spaceman, a rated R sci-fi adventure drama with its Netflix release. Half a year into his solo mission on the edge of the solar system, an astronaut concerned with the state of his life back on Earth is helped by an ancient creature he discovers in the bowels of his ship. Adam Sandler?
No way. No way. It's Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler. This does not sound like an Adam Sandler movie.
Adam Sandler, Carey Mulligan.
In a
Paul
rated
Dano.
R sci-fi adventure, Adam Sandler?
Well, he's been doing like the serious stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Uncut Gems.
I
Who's
was
my
actually
hero?
Josh Safdie's muse for Uncut Gems.
Carey Mulligan, Paul Dano. It has a tomato meter of 59% and an audience score of 79%. And some fun events coming up on campus this weekend. Hopefully you're going home for spring break, but today on campus is Free Furniture Friday. Furniture will be donated on this day to any Villanovan interested and able to pick it up beginning at 11 a.m. at the Oreo. What?
Shit, dude. You want to get some free furniture?
Like, am I getting a couch?
I don't know.
That's crazy. What?
Yeah.
Let's give it out free furniture.
Free couch you got to be wary of. You know, what happened on that couch?
Oh, yeah. True. All right, Mike, what happened on our Twitter poll results here?
All right. So on Twitter, we got a lot of workaholics here. We've got 100% of our voters.
Is that one vote?
3 votes, actually.
Oh, really? Wow.
So, like, not what you'd expect, like, not the most. but
No.
Still, that's 3 people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Working over
And then
break.
Instagram?
Instagram's a little more evenly dispersed. We got 30% taking a tropical getaway. We got 30% taking a staycation. 26% is working, and then 13% said other. And like I said earlier, we got one person swiping up. Our very own Nick Williams going to the IBS conference.
I also voted for other, but like I said, not swipe up.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and we know you're going on the road trip.
There we go. Yeah.
But that's our Twitter poll and our Instagram poll.
And our deep thought of the week is there is magic in the quiet and restful moments too. Thanks to our executive producer, Mandy Love Ledbetter. And stay tuned for Swingin' Fridays coming up next right here on Villanova's V89.1 The Roar. The Morning Roar will be back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. We'll be back. Have a great weekend and a great break, everybody.
Have a good break.
Villanova University's WXVU Villanova, serving the main line, including Montgomery, Delaware, and Chester counties at 89.1 on your FM dial. We're streaming